Hi, everyone, and welcome back to High Level Listening, the place where you can level up your English with real conversations and side by side American and British English for English language learners.
Yes, that's right. Today we're going through 10 everyday differences between British and American English. So these are words, phrases, and even the pronunciation of some things that might just surprise you.
So, these are fun, useful, and everyday vocabulary, and they'll definitely help you sound more natural, no matter which version of English you're learning.
Okay, well, let's get started with our 10 differences.
The first one, do you know which one is American and which one is British? Apartment and flat. Apartment and flat. Okay, did you guess it? So the first word, apartment, is American. So an apartment is a small space where someone would live. It's usually inside of a building with lots of apartments. And you might say something like, I'm moving into a new apartment next week.
Yes, the British version of an apartment is a flat. I live in a flat. You might see lots and lots of flats in a very tall building. That's called a block of flats. Many people in big cities live in a block of flats. You might say, yeah, I've just rented a flat near the train station. Or we went over to my mate's flat. You will see apartment written in some places in the UK, but when you're talking among friends and family, yes, my flat in London. Okay, number 2, vacation or holiday. Which one's the British one?
This one's kind of hard. Yeah.
Right, so we mean this word like you go away to a nice, warm, sunny place where you relax and have fun. If you do that in British English, that's a holiday. You go on a holiday. You take a break from work. Maybe you go to another country or another place and relax. So we're going on holiday to Spain. Lots of Brits go on holiday throughout Europe. As a very common question, are you going anywhere nice on your holidays? That means, are you traveling somewhere to relax? And if you have children and they're school age, summer holidays. That is the summer break where kids are not in school. These are often the busiest times in airports and on beaches.
So in the United States, we say vacation. And this is a little hard because we do use the word holiday, but I'm thinking Christmas Day, New Year's Day, Thanksgiving. These are American holidays. These are holidays. But when you're off school, you're off work, and you are taking an extended vacation, we're going on vacation. So we're traveling, we're leaving, we're visiting family, we're on vacation. Okay, so the next one, and I actually didn't know this word when I first started teaching English, so I don't know if a lot of people know this, but is it a truck or is it a lorry? Is it a truck or is it a lorry? Okay, so in the United States, we call the big vehicles and the smaller ones as well trucks. We call them trucks. And when you're talking about an 18-wheeler, those big, big, huge trucks, we call them trucks. What do you call them in the UK, Mark?
So that is a lorry. Yeah, a big lorry, often like connected with a trailer, carrying all kinds of things, is a big, slow lorry. You might hear something like, oh, I got stuck behind a big lorry on the M25. These are these big vehicles that move stuff around. I call that a lorry or a lorry driver.
So, what about a truck like a Ford F-150 or a Ford Lobo? What do you call that?
That would be a truck, specifically a pickup truck, because it
Oh,
has that
okay.
bed in the back for putting your stuff. But yeah, if it's a big industrial one that's moving lots of stuff, that's still a lorry. Okay, next difference we have. This one causes quite a lot of discussion. In the UK, do we call it a cookie or a biscuit? A cookie or a biscuit? If,
Very important in the
okay,
UK. Your
yeah,
biscuits. Your
very
biscuits, very
important.
important.
Get your biscuits right, buy the right biscuits, or put the right biscuits in your teeth. Yes, biscuit is the word for that sweet little round snack. And in the UK, we love to dip it in tea. It's often a wheat biscuit. They can be sweet, they can be covered in chocolate. I like to dip my biscuit in a cup of tea and eat it. For Christmas, my family has cheese and biscuits or cheese and bickies. But yeah, very popular snack in the UK. Biscuits.
Now, usually the little round things that you're talking about that are sweet are called cookies. If it's got sugar, if it's got fruit, if it's something sweet with chocolate or vanilla, it's a cookie. But if it's salty or savory, like with cheese, then we would call that probably a cracker. Yeah, we'd probably call that a cracker. If it's something, yeah, if it's wheat, no sugar, I'd call that a cracker. But if it's sweet, then I'd call it a cookie.
That's true. Like, we do have crackers in the UK. They're super thin and they're often advertised as kind of healthy. A cracker sounds a bit healthier, like lower in calories because it's thinner. A biscuit is a proper snack. You're not worried about your health if you're eating biscuits.
So the next one is kind of interesting, especially if you're going on a road trip. Do you go to get gas or do you go to get petrol? Do you go to get gas or do you go to get petrol? It's the same thing, but when we go in the United States, if you're driving around the United States, when I need to fill up my car, I go get gas, Gas. And it's short for gasoline. And what would you usually say in the UK, Mark?
My car's running out. I go to a petrol station and fill my car with petrol. Yeah. So I stopped for petrol on the way home. I need to get petrol. Even if you fill up one of those things you can carry, that's a petrol canister. But yeah, a petrol station is what we call it. Okay, number 6, the next one. If you have something that you don't need and you want to throw it away, if you're in a British kitchen, would you throw it in a trash can or throw it in the bin? Which one is British? Trash can or bin?
This one makes me laugh because of our accent as well.
Mm-hmm.
What would you normally use, Mark?
Right, I call it a bin. I threw it in
So much
the bin.
easier. That's
Right,
so
the
much
bin.
easier. Now,
Mhm.
as an American, we're going to use the American A, and then we're also going to get up in our nose and use that nasally sound as well for trash can.
A
Trash can.
That's so
So
long.
if I were to be really, really annoyingly American, trash can, trash can. And it's just so American. Okay, we can't hide our American accent there. A little more neutral, I would probably say a trash can. A trash can. But you can't escape that nasal sound with the CAN, a trash can.
Right,
A
me
trash
neither. Even
can.
when I say it, trash can, I feel it going up my
You
nose.
start
I
to get
can't
very,
stop it.
very American.
Trash can. Yeah, I can't help it.
So the next one, you might put something on if you're feeling a little chilly. Sometimes with that spring weather, you might still need to put something on. Now, in the United States, we call it one thing, and in the UK, they call it something else. Is it a sweater or is it a jumper? Is it a sweater or is it a jumper? What do you put on, Mark? If it's a little bit chilly out, what would you put on?
I put on a jumper. Yeah, when it's cold outside, I wear a jumper. I don't know why we call it that, but it's this thick, warm, long sleeve top that you can put on. A lot of people like to wear Christmas jumpers around Christmas, which have something Christmas themed on them. But yeah, there was even a film called Jumper. It was an American movie and it was about a guy who could travel through time or something. But everyone in the UK thought it was funny because the movie was just called Jumper, like a top, and it had nothing to do with the film at all. So what do you call a jumper?
A sweater. A
Right.
sweater. A Christmas sweater. You put on a sweater, a nice thick sweater. Actually, I didn't know the word jumper until I lived in Europe. So if you're learning English, whether it's American English or British English, honestly, sometimes you just don't know. Even most Americans might not know. Wait, what's a jumper? What is that? So it's
Right.
okay if you don't know both vocabulary words, and this is new for you. It doesn't make you bad at English. I
Mhm.
promise. I promise.
Okay, next one is quite a commonly known one. Maybe you know it
Mm.
too. If you're in the UK, will you push the button for an elevator or push the button for a lift? Do you go up in an elevator or go up and down in a lift? If you're in the UK, we'll call it a lift. So you take the lift to the first floor, get in the lift, or sometimes you get there like, ugh, the lift is out of order. I have to take the stairs.
And we would call it an elevator. Elevator. And I believe this is a brand name. So we used to call it a lift. We used to call it, I guess that's the technical name, but it is a brand. So over time, this just became our new word, an elevator.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, nice. So Mark said he took the elevator to the first floor, but that's a little weird because he said he was going up. Whereas in the
Mm,
United States, the first floor is the floor that
the first floor.
it's on the floor. I don't know how else to explain this. Now, in the UK, I kind of remember, don't you have something that's like 0 or G, something like that,
Mhm.
Mark?
Yeah, right. So say you're going up a block of flats and you're on the street, you walk in, you are on the ground floor. So
Hmm.
the buttons on the lift, they might have the letter G, and G is ground floor. Then the next one up is the first floor, then the second, third, etc. Is that different from the US?
Yeah, we don't have a 0 floor. We don't have a
Right.
0 floor. If I'm walking into an apartment building and I'm walking in from the street, I'm on the first floor. So it could be
Mhm.
a little bit different. You have to double check. Wait, I'm on the first floor. Mark is on the ground floor. I'm on the second floor. Mark is on the first floor,
Right. We
right?
could
We're in
both
the
be
same
saying,
place, but we're
yeah.
calling it something different.
That has happened. Yeah, when I was trying to meet up with some American friends, we were in
Yeah,
a tall building and I was like, okay, I'm on the first floor. So I went up one and I was like, where are you? I'm on the first floor. And they were downstairs being like, I'm on the first floor. And I was like, I'm
I'm
on
on
the
the first
first
floor.
floor. We're both on the first
No,
floor
you're on the
to each other.
second floor. No, I'm on the
Exactly.
first floor.
Right. And the very last one we have is also the last letter of the alphabet. So A, B, C, D, all the way through to X, Y, Z. The last letter of the alphabet in British English is Z. Yes, I know it doesn't work with the song, but this is how we learn it in
It
schools.
doesn't
This is the
work with
way
the
it's
song,
taught.
does it?
Right. Right. Yeah, the song is like A, B, C, D, and then X, Y, Z. And it's funny to hear a class full of kids all end on this really low note. But yeah, if you were spelling your name, like your name is Zach, you would say Z-A-C. That's how we do it in the UK. Is that wrong?
It just feels
It's
wrong. It
just
feels
wrong.
like everybody learns the ABC song, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I mean, you don't say said or jed. You say A, B, C,
Said.
D, E, F.
Hmm.
And so at the end, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. I'm not sure why it's different, but it is for sure. So, how many of these did you already know? Let us know in the comments and tell us whether you prefer some of the British words or the American words. I mean, if I'm honest, trash can feels a little long. I actually prefer the word bin sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with kind of changing your English up a little bit, just if you prefer a couple of different words.
Mm. Yeah, if you are learning English, remember there's no wrong version. You can absolutely
Right.
mix and match as long as other people can understand you. That's great. Just keep practicing, keep listening, and yeah, try to enjoy it. Some people like knowing the two different versions so they can switch and change when they travel to other places.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching High Level Listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time for a brand new video.
Thank you. Bye bye.